This is Melissa, your free-range psychic. Today is December 10th, 2023, and today I'm going to do a past life reading on Tommy Tubberville as the potential reincarnation of Erwin Rommel. So, I not argued with my guides, but at first I didn't really see a connection, just the idea of it. But then as I started to look into them, and then I started to see their images, and I saw it. I thought, yes, of course, the guides are always right. But it was one of those kind of perplexing things. And I know that the movies and some of the historical writings initially anyway really propped Rommel up as some kind of hero or great war tactician, and I suppose he was a good general, or they say brilliant. Perhaps he was to an extent, but then I started to read that Goebbels used Rommel as a poster hero for the war. He actually created this image of this hero out of Rommel, and he wanted to have heroes that appeal to the populace and that gave a front, so to speak, some kind of image or archetype of the brave, chivalrous kind of knight in the Germanic tradition that fights for the people and is adored by his soldiers and is kind and has this kind of pure image, but he's fierce at the same time. And so that's what Goebbels did with Erwin Rommel. And it was effective, and then, interestingly enough, because of the way he died, so Rommel was this very high-profile, and I want to say heroic in quotation marks, German general who led the Panzer Division of tanks. He was known as the Desert Fox because of his early victories in Africa. And actually, if you really look into his history, it's kind of bifold, because he's extremely successful, but then at the same time, somehow a shoe drops and he loses his advantage, and the Western Allies take over, and they become victorious. And he was put in he was put in charge of a certain aspect of Normandy. But then, and this probably wasn't his fault, Hitler divided or delegated leadership positions, and they lost Normandy. They were outsmarted, or they I've seen a couple of films. The weather played a part, I guess, but by the strategy, they misunderstood. They were whatever game they were playing with the Western Allies and the England, the U.S., France, whatever. They miscalculated, and then they were defeated soundly and lost the war because of it. And I think that Rommel was injured twice, and once in Normandy, once in Africa. Both times he went home to recover, and he had a very close relationship with Hitler. He served Hitler personally, and he, I think, was at some point second in line to Hitler, so he could have taken over Hitler's position if something happened to Hitler. But then somehow, unfortunately for Rommel, he got kind of drawn in somehow to this conspiracy to assassinate Hitler. Now, the jury's out on exactly what happened, whether he was directly involved with that or whether he just had contacts, people who wanted him to become involved, because at that point, Rommel was becoming very disillusioned with Hitler's leadership ability. He really didn't think Hitler was doing a great job at that point because of, they were losing the war. And I think he actually met with some of these people, and it was found out. And then he met his end, because instead of actually Hitler rounding him up, like with the Gestapo, and having a public execution, the Gestapo picked him up at his home and told him basically, we're going to spare your reputation, we're going to take you to the woods, and here's some cyanide. And what could Rommel do? That's what he did. He committed suicide, quotes again, because he was forced to kill himself because of this involvement or suspected involvement in assassinating, or the plot to assassinate Hitler. And so then you think Tommy Tuberville, to me, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really paid that much attention to him. I was aware early on, before he was holding up our military promotions, that he was very much involved with Trump and in touch with Trump regarding the attempt to take over our government, the insurrection, whatever you want to call it, the attempted coup. But then we've been focusing more on him because of this marathon session he had of not letting our very key, important roles in our military be filled. He was blocking those promotions, over 400 of them. And he said, or what his claim is that that was because there was a certain provision the army was allowing female soldiers to be able to take leave when they wanted whatever to get abortions, and that could not stand. And so he was going to hold up these promotions until that policy stopped, and that did not happen. And now he finally caved because there's so much pressure on him. It made no sense to bring this in to that crucial function or process of being able to fill important military posts. But he hunkered down, And it was him by himself. He took it on himself to do that. And now I think there's all but 11 very high posts not being filled. I don't know what's going to happen with that. And I was thinking, what is the similarity? Well, let's do the tarot reading and it will come through there. Okay? So here we have, as the subject card, you could probably guess it already, the Devil. And this, the guides say, this is really behind Tuberville, the push to destroy our government, to topple our government, and of course who leads it? Putin, and then Trump, and then representing Tuberville as a clarification card is the Magician. So the Magician is given as a representation of Tommy Tuberville because he wants to create this illusion of himself that he's doing what he's doing because there's a moral integrity to it, that he believes in a religious integrity, something, but really it's a way to harm our military, harm our ability to defend and protect ourselves. Crucial military positions. But he kind of glosses over it by saying, "Oh, I'm doing this because I don't want women to have access to choice," and he he's playing this the shell game, or this the smoke and mirrors, and above these two cards come up for him. This is outwardly, the Knight of Swords. So this is a religious crusade. He's this brave knight. He's doing this, and he's doing this despite all this opposition to save, lives of unborn children. But behind this card is the Five of Swords, and this is outwardly out front an attack on our government, on the American Army, Navy, and the Pentagon and the Air Force. Sorry, I was blanking on that. And it's a powerful position. Think one man can do that. So this again is it just is really another representation of these two cards. In the past, in the recent past, this is the Tower, and this is Senator Tuberville's involvement in the attack on our government, and the continued, because we are continually being attacked as I speak. In the motivation placement here, this is Four of Pentacles. So what is the real motivation for Tuberville to do this? Ambition and greed. So what are the similarities between Rommel, Erwin Rommel, and Tommy Tuberville? Well, here. Obviously, this Goebbels, Hitler, Nazism, using Rommel to be this archetype or war hero they want to present. They don't want to present as this. Here they're using him to present as that. So they create a myth of Rommel, that he is this brave Germanic hero, this soldier who is pure of heart and is fighting this good fight for the people. But this isn't really true. This is a misrepresentation. Not that Rommel wasn't a good general, but he was a flawed man, and he bought some victories, but he also bought some pretty devastating failures as a general. If you look at his history, otherwise they might have won the war. Who knows? And then Tommy Tubberville, on the surface, saying he's fighting this holy fight, this Christian fight to stop unborn children from being killed, but really the truth is he is holding up our military for Putin and for Trump, and to lay the ground for Trump to take over and weaken our military and replace our military with people that Trump wants, who will do Trump's bidding. It's a very dangerous game, really, and it's a very serious game that Senator Tuberville is playing here. And the guides say Rommel, his major motive was ambition. He was extremely ambitious. He saw himself as, especially at the end, and maybe who can blame him, because Hitler was making a lot of mistakes, as somebody who could fill Hitler's shoes. He was second in line, allegedly, to take over that position, at least at some point. And so he is doing everything he can to fulfill his career, to come into power. Not for the people of Germany, but for himself. And there are comments about how vain he was, and he always wanted to catch a moment with a camera. He does have his defenders, if and I really highly recommend you look at his history. But the guides say the truth behind it is this ambition, and Tuberville is the same. Tuberville includes money. I am not sure. I wasn't clear on how greedy Rommel was, but certainly Tuberville is extremely greedy. And then the guides told me that he's getting a lot of money, actually, to do this, to hold up the promotions, or to have held up the promotions, and still holding up some for our military. And really, it's Putin who, through Trump, is directly, specifically working with Tuberville to do this. This is really an order from Putin, and Tuberville is just making a lot of money, dark money, to do this thing. And he's also placing himself in position of power here for what he hopes is a successful coup, so that he can rise up the ranks. And he thinks he can do a better job, according to my guides, than Donald Trump. He does see himself in a position of power. Let me see. Yeah, I guess this would be the card, right? He sees himself as being able to be this person who Trump aspires to be, but Tuberville thinks he can do a better job. And allegedly, according to my guides. So in the future, and interestingly enough, I always forget about this part, but the recent past, for a past life, it means kind of how his life ended. And yes, he was forced to commit suicide or murdered, as it seems a more apt description, at the end of the war. It ended in catastrophe for him. He was severely wounded in Normandy, sent home. When he recovered, he was pulled in, or he chose, it's hard to say, into that plot to, or at least the periphery of the plot, to assassinate Hitler by this group of people, and then he is forced to take his own life. And the future card for the past life is also, conditions of how he ends his life. So 5 of Wands, is coming up for Tommy Tuberville. And this is a fissure in the GOP Senate that I think he has helped create, because not everybody in the Senate wants to go against the military. This is a disastrous tactic, according to my guides, in the minds of many of the Senate, of his fellow GOP senators. They're not quite like the congressmen, not all of them. And so they're fighting amongst themselves because there's these radical MAGA like Tuberville, and then there's others that are more similar to the Reagan Bush senators. And this is a big problem because it's a serious breach, and it's not winning them any popularity amongst the populace. And they end up, or I want to say they end up, but they are ending up, I should say, fighting amongst themselves, and it doesn't help for the GOP to have any more fissures than it already does, because they really do need to vote together to be as one, to be able to be a powerful or effective minority party. And Tuberville really hasn't helped that. And one of the things my guide showed me was that because these kinds of fissures are caused by external influences that are focusing on individual senators and congressmen, let's say, it causes disruption because it doesn't help to unify. I mean, they're not all in the same kind of agreement or mode to do this. One person's getting paid a lot of money to obstruct the proceedings of the body of government, and then that is causing problems for any, let's say, of the senators to get the things they want done. It's causing a lot of unpopularity. It impinges on their ability to raise funds. So that particular system, the way that the GOP is being run now by the MAGA, by MAGA, and really ostensibly by a foreign government, it's destroying the Republican Party even further. So the clarifying card, the lovers, this is Trump, this is Tuberville, this is a quid pro quo, an exchange here. I will do your bidding if you lift me up in power. And that's basically the dynamic that's going on with Senator Tuberville and Donald Trump. The outcome card, however, is death. So this is a disastrous end. Oh, okay, I forgot about Rommel. Obviously, this is the Nazi government, Hitler, Goebbels, etc., lifting Rommel up to make him a hero. And death was his end, obviously. Things resulted in an early death for him, and a disaster for him. And this isn't about death in Tuberville, but in terms of physical death. But the guides say his career is going to be in ruins because of his actions. So this is coming for him. Okay, let's just shift gears, and I will read you the oracle card from the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck by Stacy DeMarco that the guides chose for us. And that card is release. Release. Let it go. It is time to release anything that does not serve you. Old negative habits do not engage you anymore, as the payoff is not enough. You are ready to make room for bigger, brighter, more aligned things. I freely release what I no longer need. Let it go. Well, this this has been a very interesting reading for me to do. I want to remind everybody that I am available for personal readings. I read on anything in your past lives, anything in the present, including past and future. I love to introduce you to your guardian angels, and I'm a medium. My information is below in the description box or at the end of the musical interlude that's coming up. Please stick around for that. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me in the algorithm. I will see you next week. I love you. You guys take care, okay? Bye-bye.